Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the patch notes, the last two patch notes, the ones from February 6th and the PTR patch notes on April 16th. That's usually 2 weeks after the PTR is done is when they actually push it live. So this will be coming to HOTS in 2 weeks. So the same hero mode in ARAM, they added some new heroes. This is actually pretty cool. They changed the classification of variant into a tank. So you're going to be able to play Leo in ARAM now, and some heroes that were not in the same hero mode. Pretty cool. Arthus got a buff, a much needed buff on his death coil healing increase. It seems like pretty insignificant, but it's actually pretty significant. Healing more off your Q is nice. His base health regen was increased as well by 0.4. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is because that's a tick. So this is actually a pretty decent buff for Arthus, okay? The damage increase on Biting Cold is now additive, so instead of just culminating the two damages together, we're now going to add this on top of the existing damage, which is good, so it's going to buff his E damage, and now you get an additional bonus for your Q onto the death coil damage. So it's a decent little Arthus buff. It increases his sustain a little bit and his damage, which is nice. I think it's something that is needed for him to combat with other tanks. So Hoger rage decay rate increased, so your rage is going to decay faster now. So this seems already like it's going to be a nerf. Cooldown increased, healing per second reduced. Yeah, so it's a nerf. So Hoger got nerfed. And I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I think, you know, he could definitely use a nerf. He's just a very strong hero in general. So the spell power reduction is going to be big for his anti-mage or anti-offlane. If you're like fighting a Gul'dan or something, you're not going to be able to reduce their spell power as much. And then when you hit someone into a wall, the damage is not going to be as much. So Steel Trap base, the cooldown has been increased by 3 seconds. Extra wound timers, the damage bonus reduced from 120 to 100. So Junkrat actually got a pretty big nerf. It's actually a huge nerf. So Dirty Trickster, which is his activatable trait to throw more garbage out, that's going to take a lot longer to activate. He gets 20% less bonus damage on his last Q. And the cooldown on Steel Trap is going to be a lot longer. So Junkrat got a pretty hefty nerf. Rehgar also got a little nerf. It's not too big, but you can't stack W build. So W got nerfed even more. W definitely didn't need the nerf, but it got it anyways. So it's kind of funny. The other thing that I noticed was that they nerfed the totem. So the attack speed slow is not going to be as much. So he's not going to be as strong against auto attackers again. Uriel, I remember reading over this, got an amazing buff to her other ult, the one that, not the one that heals you, but the one that gives you armor in an area. The cooldown is now going to actually be half of what it was, which is amazing. This is a huge buff. She's getting 20 more healing on her passive. She's getting more armor, and she's getting a CDR on her ult, which is insane, 25 seconds. And it doesn't cost any mana now. This is a huge buff for Uriel. Like, this is the biggest change in the patch notes, I think. And the armor reduction reduced. Percent damage reduced from 7 to 6. It's also pretty crazy. Alarak, these are just kind of just simple changes. This isn't really... These aren't actual game changes. These are just more of bug fixes and display changes. So they added like buff bars and activation timers and stuff. So these aren't really patch notes. And then here are some bug fixes and stuff. Let's go on over to the other patch. So Lili got a pretty big buff. Her Jugs healing was increased from 66 to 75. It's actually pretty big. If you ever get healed by a Lili now and she pops her ult, it heals a lot faster. It heals a lot more. It's noticeable. Definitely noticeable. That I think it's, what is that, only 9 extra? But it really is noticeable. The 9 extra health tick per second or per quarter second, whatever the tick is, it's huge. It's huge, and I think it's a much needed buff to Lili. She's a very underwhelming hero. I think Medivh needed the buff, so I agree with this. You know, just giving him a little bit more armor. Her clone bonus mana regen increased double, and the anti-armor also increased. That is totally fine, I believe. And that really is all of it. Everything else is just bug fixes and stuff. But yeah, the reworks were small, not too big, but you know, it did make a big change. And I also what I wanted to see, I know that Samuro got buffed. I don't know exactly where that rework was or where. I'm gonna, because I do want to talk about that in here as well. This is so old. I know he got reworked, so I do want to see this. I want to read this and I want to talk about it, and I just don't know exactly where it is. When was this? Okay, here's the Samuro rework. Holy shit! It was like 4 patches ago now. They're doing a bunch of little small patches with bug fixes and stuff, and just a little bit of small tweaks. It was kind of hard to find this. So this was actually a pretty significant buff for Samuro. It doesn't seem like it's much, but it's actually huge. The Windwalk healing from 1% to 3%, and um, Way of the Wind healing from 5% on cast to 4%. So this isn't really a big nerf. It's still healing a lot, but so this this is where the buff comes in. This is why you see a lot more Samuros lately, and it's because now when they press E to go into Windwalk, it will heal them more per second. So that's why you see Samuros being able to hang around more and be more annoying now, and just kind of always, you know, push lanes and cheese and do annoying things. It's because they have better sustain again now. And you know, honestly, I think it's difficult for them to balance a hero like this because he's so versatile and because he has so many different avenues to shine that I think honestly this might have kind of overtuned him a little bit. But then again, the hero as a whole doesn't do that much damage, so I don't think it's too much of a big deal. So so yeah, there's that. You know, the Samuro rework is actually pretty significant in the amount of healing. The Uriel, the cooldown, Lili got buffed, Rehgar got nerfed, and you know, a couple other things that we talked about. But actual decent amount of changes over the past couple of months from Blizzard, and I really hope that we're going to see some more stuff. Maybe a revival of HOTS. Of course, this is wishful thinking. It's in maintenance mode, but you know, we would love to see some more revival, maybe more heroes, more maps, bring back some ARAM modes, whatever you can give us. We'd love it. We love the game. We love playing it, and we appreciate the developers and what they do. And we would appreciate if Blizzard would give us even more content. So thank you guys for watching. I hope these little changes made you happy. It sure made me smile just seeing my favorite game get actually worked on a little bit, even if it's not, you know, that significant of a change. Of course, we don't want to break the game or make something too strong or not too strong and piss off the community. So, you know, the little changes that they're making, they aren't really pissing anyone off. They're just, you know, giving us hope that the game is still kind of alive. But yeah, you know, if you kind of want to see more changes, bigger changes, then leave a comment on the video. Let me know what you guys think. And of course, feel free to feel active on the BattleNet community websites. There's forums and a bunch of stuff, and a lot of good places to go voice your opinion. But yeah, just if the company knew how many loyal supporters it had, it'd be more likely to put more into it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope these little patch notes helped, and I hope you have a good day.